Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Ecopodcast. My name is Lygia Rowena, your podcast host. Today our guest is Berenice Wilson, Moody's Chief Executive Officer and a renowned international expert in global economies. Before working for Moody's, Berenice Wilson worked for the European Central Bank as the advisor's board chief. Additionally, she has been an economic consultant for the United States Federal Reserve and for other different Latin American countries, such as Brazil, Argentina, El Salvador, and Mexico. She has also been awarded several international distinctions acknowledging her valuable contributions to the improvement of the world's economy and the fight against poverty. Berenice will be one of the keynote speakers at Peru's 2024 APEC. Welcome to the Ecopodcast, Berenice.
Hello, Lygia. Thanks for having me.
Berenice, thank you very much for being with us. How are you today?
I'm so excited to be here in Peru to participate in APEC 2024, and I'm very happy to be your guest on the Ecopodcast.
Thanks, Berenice. Well, during your introduction, we mentioned that you are Moody's CEO, and it is inevitable to ask you about Moody's recent decision to downgrade Peruvian investment grade to BBB-. What explains such a measure?
To answer your question, I'd like to say that our rating agency takes into account different variables to determine a country's investment grade. In the Peruvian case, one important factor we have considered is the fiscal deficit.
Could you please explain to our audience what the fiscal deficit is?
The fiscal deficit is basically a country's difference between its revenues and the expenses, which is normally expressed as a percentage of the gross domestic product. As a rule, a country should not spend more than what it gets as revenues, but if that is going to happen, that country's government must set a top fiscal deficit expressed as a percentage of the gross domestic product. The idea is to take measures to make sure that the fiscal deficit is not surpassed. In this regard, and specifically in Peru's case, according to the figures we have, Peru's fiscal deficit must not exceed the 2.4% of the GDP in 2024, a percentage set up by the Peruvian Ministry of Economy. However, having conducted a deep analysis at Moody's, our projection is that Peru's fiscal deficit will have attained 4% by the end of 2024, which means 2 consecutive years of infringement of the fiscal deficit goal. It is important to say that, except for the year 2020, this is Peru's highest fiscal deficit since 1995. Based on that analysis, our decision was to establish Peru's investment grade in BBB- because we have reasons to believe that the fiscal deficit may remain in the order of 3.8% or 4% in the next 2 years. As I said before, this is one of the key reasons why we decided to downgrade Peru's investment grade, and the same rationale is applied all over the world.
What could Peru do to turn this situation around?
First of all, in my role as Moody's representative, I can only convey the official position of our agency, which is based on a thorough analysis carried out by our highly qualified international expert staff. Taking that into account, I could state some perspectives on the basis of our research into Peruvian economy. How could Peru take action to attain the fiscal deficit goal of 2.4%? I would like to emphasize that Peru has solid macroeconomic foundations, and this is one of its most valuable assets, positioning Peru as one successful study case in Latin America. This is mainly due to the outstanding job done by the Peruvian Central Bank, which is ranked among the best financial institutions in the world. Therefore, considering its solid macroeconomic pillars, I am sure that Peru has to continue working to broaden its tax base so that revenues increase, which will allow Peru to gradually reduce the fiscal deficit until it attains the 2.4% expected goal. Certainly, amplifying the tax base is one of the recommendations given by the International Monetary Forum and the World Bank, so my only additional comment at this point is that the efforts done towards broadening the tax base will have a positive impact on reducing not only the fiscal deficit, but also Peru's labor informality rate, which currently attains almost 75.7% according to the international figures available.